You gave her your time, your patience, your future. You showed up when she was broken, stayed quiet when she was volatile, swallowed your pride just to keep the peace. And then, without warning, she walked. Not because you failed her, but because someone else offered a better feeling. Here's the brutal truth no one will say out loud. Love is not her compass. Instinct is. And if you're still believing that loyalty, vows, or your good heart are enough to keep her anchored, you're not in a relationship. You're in a holding pattern, waiting for the moment you're no longer the best option. By the end of this video, you'll see why the most painful breakups aren't betrayals of love, they're confirmations of biology. And more importantly, you'll learn how to stop offering your soul to a system that only sees you as temporary leverage. Let's rewind. Not to blame, but to understand. A century ago, a man's value was clear. He provided, protected, built. A woman's role was equally defined. She nurtured, maintained the home, raised children. Not perfect, but stable. There were rules, expectations, consequences. Loyalty had social weight. Betrayal carried shame. Divorce wasn't a casual reset button, it was a scarlet letter. Then came the illusion of liberation. Not just for women, especially for men. We were sold a lie disguised as progress. Now you can have it all. Passion, freedom, emotional intimacy, no strings. But no one told us the fine print. While women gained unprecedented freedom to select, men lost the right to withdraw. Culture rewired the script. Media turned romance into a performance, where the ideal man is endlessly patient, emotionally available, financially generous, and never demanding. Meanwhile, the ideal woman, she gets to be mysterious, emotionally fluid, free to follow her heart, even if that heart changes direction every 6 months. And here's the trap. We're told relationships are 50-50, but the emotional marketplace isn't fair. It never was. Modern incentives punish male boundaries and reward female impulsivity. Ghost a man? She must have needed space. A man sets a boundary? He's toxic. She leaves after years of marriage for not feeling seen? Tragic, but understandable. A man leaves because his needs were ignored? Selfish, cruel, emotionally stunted. The system doesn't just tolerate female volatility, it romanticizes it. Her tears are depth. Her silence is mystery. Her sudden exit is self-discovery. But your pain? It's weakness. Your confusion? You're not evolved enough. And the worst part? Men are trained to police other men for daring to speak this truth, while excusing behaviors in women that would be called manipulation if done by anyone else. This isn't about morality, it's about mechanics. When you remove consequences, instinct takes over. When you flood the market with infinite options, thanks dating apps, loyalty becomes a liability. When a woman can walk away with the house, the kids, and half your future, commitment becomes asymmetric risk. You're not failing relationships. You're playing a game where the rules were rewritten mid-match and no one told you you're the only one still bound by the old code. But here's the hard truth that cuts through the noise. Women aren't breaking promises out of malice. They're following deeper programming. Hypergamy, emotional calibration, survival optimization, that modern culture no longer checks. And if you don't recognize that programming for what it is, not evil but evolutionary, you'll keep mistaking her strategy for your failure. Of course, exceptions exist, but they're increasingly rare. The women who value constancy over chemistry, character over charisma, loyalty over leverage, they're out there, but they're swimming upstream in a current that rewards the opposite. So don't hate the player, understand the game. Because the real betrayal isn't her leaving, it's you never knowing you were playing for different stakes all along. Let's cut through the noise. This isn't about revenge.
It's not about painting all women as villains. It's about naming the invisible current that's been dragging men under for decades. While we were too busy apologizing, overgiving, and romanticizing the very behaviors that leave us hollow. What follows isn't theory, it's pattern recognition, and it's broken into 5 truths that once seen can never be unseen. She's not disloyal, she's optimizing. You keep asking, why did she leave after everything I gave her? The answer isn't in your failures, it's in her wiring. Women aren't programmed for loyalty in the way men are. Evolution didn't reward them for sticking with the good guy if a better option appeared. It rewarded them for upgrading. This isn't cruelty, it's calculus. And in today's world of infinite choice, that calculus runs on autopilot. Think of it like this. A man invests in a relationship like he's building a house, brick by brick, year by year, hoping it becomes a legacy. A woman evaluates it like she's renting a car. Is this still the best available model? Does it get me where I need to go? Is there a newer one nearby? When she walks, it's rarely about you failing. It's about someone else offering more. More status, more excitement, more emotional validation, more future potential. And because modern culture gives her zero social penalty for leaving, she doesn't agonize over it. She just switches. This is hypergamy in action, not as a moral flaw, but as an ancient survival script running in the background of her choices. And if you don't understand that, you'll keep mistaking her departure for rejection, when it's really just selection. Her emotions are not a compass. They're a negotiation tool. Men are taught to treat a woman's feelings as sacred. If she's upset, it's your job to fix it. Her tears mean you've hurt her. If she's distant, you must have done something wrong. But here's what no one tells you. Women are emotionally fluent in a way men are not, and that fluency is often weaponized, even unconsciously. She doesn't need to yell to control you. She withdraws. She doesn't demand, you overcompensate to regain her warmth. She doesn't threaten, you contort yourself to avoid her disappointment. This is covert power, not because she's scheming like a villain in a soap opera, but because for millennia, women couldn't dominate through strength, so they evolved to dominate through emotional influence. And today, that influence is amplified by a culture that treats female emotion as infallible. Her sadness isn't always vulnerability, it's often a boundary probe. Her silence isn't always pain, it's often leverage. Her praise isn't always love, it's often reinforcement for the behavior she wants you to repeat. You've been conditioned to respond, not question, to soothe, not assess. But emotional sovereignty means this: you honor her feelings without letting them steer your ship.
Romance is the bait, attachment is the trap. From Disney to rom-coms to Instagram captions, you've been sold a fantasy. Find the one, give your all, and she'll love you forever. But Schopenhauer saw it clearly 2 centuries ago. Female beauty and affection are evolutionary lures, not lies, but tools. Nature doesn't care about your heart, it cares about replication. And nothing binds a man faster than the illusion of exclusive, eternal love. So she showers you with attention, just enough to hook you. She mirrors your values until you're invested. She talks future until you've mortgaged your present to build it. And the moment your value plateaus, or someone else offers a sharper spark, the script changes. Not because she's evil, because the lease expired. This is why so many men wake up one day and realize, she never loved me. She loved what I did for her. Not maliciously, mechanically. Romantic love for many women is a phase of evaluation, not a lifelong covenant. You were auditioning the whole time and didn't even know you were on trial. The modern man is trained to be disposable. Look around. Boys are told to check their masculinity in school.
Men are mocked for wanting commitment. Fathers are sidelined in custody courts. Male pain is dismissed as fragile masculinity. Meanwhile, women are told, you deserve everything. Set boundaries, never settle, follow your truth. And so we get a grotesque imbalance. Women are empowered to select, discard, and reset, while men are shamed for even wanting stability. You're expected to be emotionally available, but never needy. Financially stable, but never entitled to reciprocity. Supportive of her dreams, but silent about your own. This isn't equality, it's asymmetric obligation. And the result? A generation of men who are either bitter ghosts or eager servants hustling for scraps of affection. But here's the twist. The system doesn't want you strong, it wants you compliant. Because a man who knows his worth doesn't beg. A man who sees the game doesn't play by rigged rules. And a man who's emotionally sovereign can't be manipulated. Detachment isn't hatred, it's self-preservation. This is where most men get stuck. They swing between two traps. Naive idealism, if I just love her enough, she'll change. Bitter resentment, all women are selfish liars. Both are prisons. The third path, the one Schopenhauer pointed to, the one Stoics practiced, the one modern psychology ignores, is clarity without contempt. You don't need to hate her nature to protect yourself from it. You don't need to deny her instincts to refuse to be used by them. True maturity looks like this. You can admire her beauty without surrendering your judgment. You can enjoy her company without making her your compass. You can love her while keeping your exit open. This is emotional sovereignty, the quiet refusal to let another person's shifting tides drown your inner shore. Of course, exceptions exist, but they're increasingly rare. There are women who value character over status, loyalty over novelty, depth over dopamine. But they're not the norm in a culture that rewards performance over integrity. So don't chase the exception. Build a life where you don't need to. Because the goal isn't to win her forever, it's to never lose yourself trying. This is the reality no one wants to admit. Relationships today aren't partnerships of equals. They're temporary alignments of interest, and men are the only ones still acting like they're signing eternal contracts. Wake up, not to rage, but to readiness. Let's be clear, Schopenhauer wasn't warning you about women. He was warning you about yourself, about the part of you that confuses longing with logic, that trades autonomy for affection, that kneels when it should stand. The cold truth isn't that women are deceptive, it's that you were never taught to read the script beneath the smile. Her loyalty wasn't broken, it was never yours to claim in the first place. Her love wasn't a promise, it was a season, and seasons change. You don't need to rage against her nature, you need to respect it enough to protect yourself from it. Because the greatest danger isn't her leaving. It's you losing your mind, your mission, yourself, trying to earn permanence from someone wired for selection. This isn't pessimism, it's precision. And with that clarity comes something rare in today's man: freedom. If you take nothing else, live by this code. Love with eyes open, not blind faith, but clear sight. Never mortgage your future for temporary warmth. Your worth is non-negotiable. Don't let affection price it down. Detachment is discipline, not indifference, but sovereignty. Build a life so solid, no woman's whim can shake it. You weren't born to serve a fantasy, you were born to master reality. So stop begging for a seat at a table where your presence is conditional. Walk, build your own, and only invite those who honor the architecture. Because the man who sees the game doesn't play it, he rewrites it.